Welcome to Basic Calculus for STEM. I am live si Anga on Learning Activity Sheets week 6. And now let's focus on review first. So based on your week 5, what happened when the slope of the tangent line is 0? Anong mangyayari pag ang slope ng ating tangent line sa curve ay 0? The answer is, it happened when the tangent line is horizontal, and thus it is either at the highest or the lowest point of the curve of the given interval. Now, another trivia. It is a word that describes your feeling if you are at the highest point or peak of the mountain. Say Sanchez Peak or Overview Peak at Sabangan J.P. Laurel. It starts with letter E and it also ends with letter E. The answer? Extreme. You have an extreme feeling. So do you have an idea what is our topic for today? Our topic for today, the first objective in last one is to find the extrema of the continuous function on a given interval. So what is extrema? It is a plural of extremum. When I say continuous function, continuous. Wala siyang point of discontinuity. So pag mag-draw tayo, automatic hindi malift ang pen. Diretso-diretso lang. Continuous yan. When we say extremum, it means two things, minimum or maximum. So when we say extremum, there exists a minimum and there exists a maximum. And to identify an extremum or minimum or maximum, we need to set the critical point. So, kailangan talaga ang critical point to identify. Now, what is critical point? Critical point of a function f are this. So look at this line that is horizontal. There is the point of tangency in which that is a critical point. Or it could be that point. Or it could be that point. Or it could be that point. Basta kay tangent line. So, ang critical point is either minimum, maximum, or not. It could be an extremum. So our focus is the critical point to which will give an extremum when the slope is 0 or undefined. So let's define. Let f be a function that is continuous on an open interval I containing x sub o. So ang f natin yung function continuous na may x sub o sa kanyang interval. We say that x sub o will give a critical point of f if the first derivative of x sub o is equal to 0 or f prime of x sub o does not exist. It means, makuha natin yung critical point pag i-equate natin si 0 or it does not exist. Bakit? Kasi sa continuous function, it can be differentiable. Meaning, makuha natin yung first derivative. That is the first derivative is defined as f of x plus h minus f of x all over h as x goes to 0. That's why sa ating continuous function or sa differentiable natin or differentiation or sa ating paghanap ng critical point, dapat hanapin natin yung interval. Kung open interval man siya, it's because h goes to 0. That means hindi talaga 0. It goes to 0. Papalapit ng papalapit lang. So the first step is to determine the derivative of f of x. Ano ba ang first derivative? Then equate the first derivative to 0. So kung ano ang result ng ating derivative, equate lang po sa 0 and then solve natin yung unknown which is the value of x. Ang sabi din ng extreme value theorem, kung makuha natin ang critical point, possible kung closed ang interval sa ating continuous function bounded by closed interval. Ang extreme value or yung minimum or maximum always exist either in the two endpoints of the interval or sa critical point. So, ang proof nito ay beyond your competency. So, we'll proceed with an example. Example, find the critical points of f of x equals to 3x squared minus 3x plus 4 on the interval closed negative 1 to 1. So first step is you have to find the derivative. The derivative of 3 times 3x squared is, multiply natin ang 2 sa 3, that is 6. Then 2 minus 1, that is, of course, that is 1. So that is 6x. And then negative 3x, the derivative is negative 3. So the derivative is 6x minus 3. Second step, equates to 0. Third step, solve for x. So x equals 0.5 or 1 half. So 1 half lang ba? Meron pa tayong negative 1 at saka 1. Those are the candidates of our critical points. So it means makikita na natin ang critical points. Example 2, find the critical points of f of x. Ito. So critical point, negative 1, 1.5. When can we say that in that critical point there is a maximum? So maximum of f occurs at x sub o, or the critical point na sinabi, if the value of f of x sub o is the largest among all of the other functional values on I. So kukunin natin na ito yung pinakamalaki. So automatic yan. Ang second way to identify if that is a maximum is to find the second derivative. If the second derivative is negative, then that means it opens downward. Pag opens downward kasi yung curve natin, it means there is a maximum. Kasi may peak, parang mountain. Opens downward yan. Curve is a concave down if there is a maximum. The sign of the second derivative is negative. The minimum of f of x above is the smallest among all neighborhood of f of x for all x in I. So, that means may minimum din siya kung yun ang pinakamaliit. I-compare lahat ng mga neighborhood ng x doon sa interval. Titingnan natin kung saan ang pinakamaliit yun yung minimum. Ang pinakamalaki, yun yung maximum. The second derivative of this minimum is positive. It means the curve is concave upward. Kasi kung concave up, it means merong minimum. Meron, sa Bisaya, may lugot. Find the extremum of f of x is equals to 2x minus 6 on interval negative 1, 1. So, close interval. According sa AVT, candidate na agad ang negative 1, 1. Pero, pwede natin makuha yung ating extremum sa close interval na negative 1. Aside from that, sa ating critical point. Solving for the first derivative. So, kunin natin ang first derivative ng f of x, which is equal to 2. Equate to 0. Oh! False! Because 2 cannot be equal to 0. It means, it cannot be used yung ating value ng x. Wala tayong value ng x. Because that is false. It means, hindi natin gamitin ang first derivative as a critical point. So, automatic sa negative 1, 1 tayo. So, by substitution, x equals negative 1, f of negative 1 is negative 2 times 1, which is negative 2 minus 6, which equals to negative 8. And x equals 1. F of 1 equals to 2 times 1 minus 6 kasi 2x minus 6 po ang ating original. That is 2 minus 6, that is negative 4. So the point is, saan ba ang mas malaki? Negative 8 or negative 4? Of course, negative 4. So that's why that is a maximum. So maximum po ito. And this one is the minimum. Find the extrema of f of x equals to 5 raised to the power of x 5 over 4 plus 10 x raised to the power of 1/4 at the interval negative 1, 1. Sa close interval, sa EVT, ganun din. Kasali ang negative 1, 1. But first, you have to find the critical point by finding the first derivative. So, ang first derivative niya, ibaba ang 5 over 4 minus 1, that is 4 over 4, of that is 5 minus 1, that is 5 minus 4, that is 1/4 over 4 man. Plus, 10 times 1/4, yung 10, times natin sa 1/4 na exponent, then ang 1/4 minus 1, that is 4 over 4, that is negative 3 over 4. So, ang derivative natin, simplify natin, kung ibaba natin yung x na negative 3/4, ibaba natin, that becomes 10 over 4 x raised to the power of 3/4. And then, pag isimplify natin, that is f prime of x is equal to 5x plus 10 all over 16, kasi 4 times 4, 16x raised to the power of 3/4. When it is equated to 0, so 0 is equals to that. And then by cross product, you've got 0 is equals to 5x plus 10. Solving for x, you've got x equals negative 2. Wow! Wala po sa interval ang negative 2. It means, hindi po pwede yun. So, hindi candidate itong negative 2. So, let's try with negative 1. So, ang negative 1, itry natin. Oh, x to the power, negative 1 raised to the power of f of negative 1 po ito. X to the power of 5 over 4. Meron? Negative 1 raised to the power of 5 over 4. Wala! X raised to the power of 1/4 when x equals negative 1. Wala din. So that means, kung x equals negative 1, wala tayong value. Kung x equals 1, let's substitute. 1 raised to the power of 5 over 4 plus 10 times 1 raised to the power of 1/4. It's equals to 1 plus 10, it's equals to 11, which is a maximum because if we try 0, f of 0 is 0. So among the neighborhoods of 1 to negative 1, yung f of 1 will give the maximum value. So therefore, x equals 1 will give maximum value, which is a point 111. Last two now, let's open our last two. Sa ating problem, ito yung optimization. This is an application of our finding the minimum and the maximum or the extremum value. So, we have the cardboard na 16 by 30 centimeter. And then, how to cut this cardboard to have a maximum volume. So, it means magkakat tayo ng mga x by x na square. Both corners, at the four corners, para makabuo tayo ng box. So, ang width na 16, minus na natin sang dalawa ka x, that is minus 2x. So, that becomes 16 minus 2x. And ang length natin na 30, minusan ka 2x, kasi dalawang x, that is 30 minus 2x. That is the new length. Ang h dati, cardboard man yun, walang, of course, 0 or none. Ngayon, since patayuin na yan, that is, our height is x. So, the volume is length times width times height. We multiply that. This is our box. Ang height ay x. Ang width niya ay 16 minus 2x. Ang length niya is 30 minus 2x. So, the volume we multiply, that is 30 minus 2x times 16 minus 2x times x. You've got 480x minus 60x minus 32x plus 4x squared times x. That becomes 480x minus 92x squared plus 4x cubed. And then, second step is, kukunin ang derivative. So, kukunin natin ang derivative. So, that becomes v prime of x is equals to 480 minus 92 times 2 times x plus 12x squared. So, ang mangyayari, that becomes v prime of x that is equal to 480 minus 184x plus 12x squared. So, i-factor natin ang 184x, 480 minus 184x plus 12x squared. The factor is x minus 12 times 12x minus 40. Buti na lang, factorable. Then equate to 0. So therefore, x minus 12 is equals to 0 or 12x minus 40 equals to 0. So for x equals 12 or x equals 40 over 12 divided by 4 both sides, you've got 10 over 3. So these are the candidates or the critical points. Yung 12 at saka 10 over 3. So let's try by substitution. V of 12 of the original. Ito yung original. So 480 times 12 minus 92 times 12 squared, or that is plus 4 times 12 cubed. And that is equals to negative 576 cubic centimeter. That's impossible to happen because we don't have a negative volume. So we'll try the second critical point, which is 10 over 3. So volume of 10 over 3, which is equals to 480 times 10 over 3 minus 92 times 10 over 3 squared plus 4 times 10 over 3 cubed. And by simplifying, that is 725.93 cubic centimeter. Wow, that is a maximum value of this box, which is 16 by 30. So, let's proceed with last three. Good luck to your activity of last one and last two. Let's proceed to last three. That is to differentiate functions using chain rule. What is chain rule? Chain rule is a derivative of a composite function. Say a function f of x and g of x, and f of x is differentiable at c, and f of x is differentiable at f of x. It means ang f of x naka-embed doon sa g of x. Then the composition f circle g is differentiable at c, and the derivative of g circle f of c is equal to g prime of f of c times f prime of c. So para mas maintindihan, we write G circle f of c, it's equals to G prime of f of c times f of c. It means, kung chain rule, kung marami tayong i-derive, unahin talaga yung sa labas. Then sa loob, kung may derivative pa. Unahin ang sa labas times sa loob. Yun ang pinaka-importante. Example, 2x squared raised to the power of 3. Unahin sa labas. Ano bang exponent sa labas? Di ba 3? So that becomes 3x squared. Or 3. Open yung 2x squared raised to the power of 2. And then, sa labas, tapos na. Sa loob, ang loob natin ay 2x squared. Ang derivative dyan ay 4x. So, i-multiply labas times loob. That is 3 times 2x squared raised to the power of 2 times 4x. We know that 2x squared, that is equal to 4x to the 4th times 3 times 4 times x, that is 48x to the 5th. So, the derivative of 2x squared raised to the power of 3 is 48x to the 5th. Now, example 2. Find the derivative of sine 2x. Dalawa ulit. The derivative of sine and the derivative of 2x. What is the derivative of sine x? Of course, cosine x. What is the derivative of sine 2x? Of course, cosine 2x. Affirmative. What is the derivative of 2x? That is 2. So, therefore, labas, derivative sa loob. That is cosine of 2x times 2. That is 2 cosine 2x. Example 3. Find the derivative of the natural logarithm of secant 2x. Tatlo po ito, ln, secant and 2x. Anong derivative ng ln of x? 1 over x. Anong derivative ng ln of secant 2x? Of course, that is 1 over secant 2x. So, what is second derivative of secant x? That is secant x, tan x, sectan. What is the derivative of secant 2x? Of course, that is secant 2x tangent 2x. Kopyahin lang ang 2x. Ano derivative ng 2x? 2. So, isahin lang lahat. So, it means, gagawin nating denominator ang secant 2x. So, what is ln of secant 2x? That is 1 over secant 2x times derivative of secant 2x. It is equals to secant 2x tan 2x times the derivative of 2x, that is 2. So, labas, papasok ng papasok. That is equal to 2 secant 2x tan 2x over secant 2x. Cancel ang secant 2x. That it becomes 2 times tan 2x. So, the result is 2 tan x. Thank you for listening. Good luck and God bless.